We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 of our 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is that not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
The very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountain. Good afternoon in the central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparationist Perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. And today, family, it's more puckery. Yes, more puckery to report. What's up, Herb Saint? I see you, love. Thank you for joining the live. And for those of you on Facebook and Twitter, thank you so very much for joining the live. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm trying this time slot. Yesterday, my daughter, she caught me off guard, calling me at 3:15 to come and get her up off that track. And so I raced to finish and conclude yesterday's broadcast. I'm trying to remember what it was on. Oh, Lord, I can't recall. Listen, it's in the archives. These topics just blend one right into the other. Today's topic, we're going to get into the nothing burger of the State of the Union address from segregationist in chief, Jim Crow Joe, Strom Thurmond's boy. Yes, I'm leaning in, family, because it is imperative that we do not sheep walk to the polls this midterm. It is imperative that we show up in Obama-style numbers to give the Democratic Party our freedmen asses to kiss. And so I'm doing a full court press. and trying to be over here every day that I'm humanly possible, in between court cases, Lord have mercy, trying to get it in as much as possible and pushing my Freedmen voter strategy, which I think is the easiest to comprehend of all the ones out there circulating. If there are that many, I really don't know. I've been very much on the steady drumbeat of my own Freedmen voter strategy. What I do know is that the immigrants have a strategy. Under 50K, they're voting for the Democrats, who have opened up the floodgates and allowed them in here in the millions. They now become our tax burden, and they're in a full court press trying to give them the right to vote. Illegals who have broken the law. Oh, by the way, there's a lawsuit. I'll be getting into that one of these days as one of my topics. In New York City, where the blacks are actually suing for, the state giving them the right to vote. Democrats giving them the right to vote. Let's just be specific, okay? And so, I want to talk about this nothing burger. Listen, I didn't watch the puckery, but I was hearing, the meanderings and the despair in the voices of my comrades as I was meeting on some advocacy work. And it's just unconscionable that this country, this government in particular, this particular administration, who promised they would have Freedmen backs the way Freedmen delivered them the White House. We have yet to see it. They're literally trying to take race out of everything. I mean, even when they're talking about environmental racism, they're trying to take race out of it for fear of lawsuits, because white folks are getting upset if you do anything race-based. This is something the government has allowed, for race to be weaponized against us to keep us tethered to the bottom of the Titanic as the anchor of the country with 3 Ks, capitalism with 3 Ks. So now they don't want to touch the word race. How convenient. How convenient when we need this country to recognize and admit how they've legislated us to the bottom of this Titanic as the anchor of its capitalism. Now, conveniently, when we don't want to talk about race, we're just going to cloak everything in being economically disadvantaged. You see? We're just going to say that and to steer clear of race. But that's the way you silently ethno-genocide an entire people. Okay? This is what's happening. I've got an article where now, since Biden funded $30 million for racial equity to use crack and opioids and fentanyl, okay? Now they're coming out with reports. Now, all of a sudden, conveniently, we need racial equity in drug use, but not racial equity in closing the egregious racial wealth gap that's hundreds of trillions of dollars wide, because white folks have killed and stolen all the wealth from our ancestors' heinous chattel slavery. So they don't want racial equity when it comes to closing the egregious racial wealth gap. They don't want racial equity when it comes to the preschool to prison pipelines. They don't want racial equity when it comes to re-enslaving freedmen in the private prison industrial complex. No, they don't want racial equity when it comes to home ownership. They don't want racial equity when it comes to business ownership. They don't want racial equity when it comes to environmental racism. But let's give them $30 million in racial equity crack pipes. Let's legalize the drug dens. Let's legalize the trap houses. What difference does it make if you've got crack pipes and you smoking this stuff that's laced, that's killing our people? Because that's what's happening. Let's get into it. Oh, Lord. Please like, share, subscribe. I see you, U.S. Atlantic Creole Nation. Senator Bradford has Asians answering his phones. Oh, please. Don't tell me no more puckery. I just cannot. You mean the very Asians that took a whole freaking day off when we were trying to get Prop 16 through this piece to vote no to Prop 16, which was trying to give us our affirmative action back, which was undermined and undone under the auspice of reverse discrimination, thanks to Freedman Ward Connerly. You mean those Asians that showed up to vote no, even while we were trying to push for yes on the Senate hearing floor? Those Asians are answering his phone. Oh my God. Child, the puckery. Well, needless to say, he won't get those messages. He probably won't get the ones that you're emailing either. But do the exercise for kicks and giggles anyway. I just cannot with these Democrats. For those of you who are new to this party and why I'm mortified that Asians are answering the phone of the very Freedman Senator Bradford, it's because that Mickey Thicky just delayed a vote on eligibility here in California for those of us to receive reparations. Yeah, they're literally sitting up here trying to make it about race, while the overall government won't make ish about race because to do so threatens lawsuits. So Senator Bradford and Lisa Holder, Dr. Cheryl Grills, I think Don Tamaki was doing a little bit of that Mickey Thicky over there too. Listen, they sat up here and Bradford motioned to delay the vote on eligibility after Dr. Shirley Weber, who authored the bill, said exclusively it is to benefit those who descend from U.S. chattel slavery, lest we end up with 50 cents. Chermaninsky, however you say the man's name, Chemerinsky. Oh, Lord. I said it 3 times. Hopefully I won't botch it again. Chemerinsky said, if you make this about race in terms of eligibility, you are going to undermine the efforts of the recipients who are long overdue, the lineage that is long overdue. That would be the freedmen who descend from U.S. chattel slavery. And yet he puts a motion on the freaking floor. We were supposed to be voting that day. It was delayed an entire another month. That delays the researchers, the analysts, and the economists. You're talking about a 1,000-page thing that they got to put together, making the case for us to receive reparations here in the state of California. U.S. Atlantic Creole Nation says Senator Comlager has Latinos answering the phone. Oh, my God. One of the tethers in Senator Bradford's office said he deserved reparations. Oh, my God. Because he allegedly was impacted by the effects of slavery. Hi, Ivy Dreams. Ooh, child, the ghetto. Oh, Lord. This is when I need a drink and a joint. And I don't even smoke, okay? I just cannot with the puckery. Let's get into it. Let's get into all of the puckery this afternoon, family. I'm just trying to strengthen your resolve to join me in my Freedman voter strategy to give these Democrats our Freedman asses to kiss come the midterms. That's why you see me practically every damn day. It's a full court press because I think in Georgia, Tamara Johnson Shealy, there's only 2 exceptions that I'm allowing, 2 Democratic exceptions. That would be Marcel Dixon to unseat the Coon Clyburn in District 6, South Carolina, and Tamara Johnson Shealy to unseat the Coon Warnock in the state of Georgia. Their races are back-to-back. I do believe, if my memory serves me, hers is May 24th and his is June 14th. So you gonna see me doing a full court press, and then I've got to go into another full court press as we march into 2024. It is what it is. Because anytime we still have the highest numbers of support for the segregationist in chief, Houston, we've got a damn problem. How in the world, of all the people who no longer support the Biden administration, our numbers are still in the the low 60s. I think 63%. It is unconscionable that we aren't as abysmal as the rest of the country, at least comparable. We've been given crack pipes and Maya Angelou on the back of a slaveholder quarter and a Supreme Court justice who might as well be Clarence Thomas in a goddamn skirt. And yet our numbers are still in the 60th percentile of support of the Biden administration, who, oh, by the way, has plans to ethno-genocide us to as few in numbers as the Indians. This is what we doing. Okay. Anyway, that's why you got to see me over here doing what I do, family. It is a nightmare. So let's get into this article. And of course, I'm going to be giving my comments in between. Y'all need to watch my video on that woman who, what's her name? Ketanji Brown Jackson. Y'all need to watch that video before they get wind of it and censor it and drop it and erase it. Now, I was very emotional. It's very difficult to see the Glacier Donkey deputized go up into the Lockheed, which is one of the biggest defense contractors of the whole entire country. Okay, premier defense contractor. This Glacier Donkey went up in there and executed, I want to say maybe it was about 10 or 14. It was 14 people total. I know a couple of white folks got taken out when they was trying to stop his ass. But by and large, he came up in that piece and executed freedmen because they were complaining about this Glacier Donkey and his heinous racism and the way he was taunting and torturing them on the job. He came up in there one day because they wouldn't fire his cracker ass, okay, with 3 Ks, and executed 14 people, many of whom were freedmen, because they complained to upper management. Well, how did Ketanji Brown Jackson get involved? She was the judge who, after reaching a $22 million settlement for the surviving family members, she denied the settlement. She denied the settlement and let this Mickey Thicky Glacier Donkey deputized race soldier, who ultimately took his own life, she ruled it out. It was already done. Lockheed had agreed that they were neglectful. They were neglectful in the way they would not listen to the cries of the freedmen who complained. One freed woman was actually getting more life insurance and told her husband to prepare. And of course, she was one of the ones to be executed. I'm not going to do that show all the way over. I'm just telling you that the only black faces in the freaking government on the Supreme Court are our black-faced white oppressors. I don't care. Listen, she is amongst them. She is Clarence Thomas in a skirt. You got to watch it after this, okay? Don't go nowhere. Don't go anywhere right now. You have to stay with me, and we got to get through the puckery, okay, on this one. So let me see. Okay, so this one here says Joe Biden's weak, forgettable State of the Union won't help his abysmal poll numbers. Like I said, we received the least. I don't know. We got Stockholm Syndrome. Something's going on. We received the least, but support this replacement of our people the most. I don't understand it. Let me get over here and see if y'all can see. Hold on. Let me just blow this up some. Just a second. I want for y'all to be able to see the title. Let me make some adjustments while I read and make my comments. Oh, Lord. All this stuff at the top, y'all, it's getting in the way of what I'm feeling. I'm trying to make my program visibly nice, but you know, all the little ads won't allow me. Yes, Ivy Dreams, wow is right. Yes, Biden chooses Kabami, who's responsible for all type of puckery when it comes to Freedman Black in the state of California, which is why she was fourth in her own damn presidential race. And now he has chosen Ketanji Brown Jackson, who denied Freedman families a $22 million settlement that was a done deal. Y'all gotta look. That was a couple days ago. Go through the archives. You got to see it. Okay, so yes, admittedly, you may have to adjust your volume because I was an angry Black woman, angrier than I am now. I think I screamed loud enough for the entire block to hear. So you may have to adjust your volume. It is what it is. It is what the damn is. So yes, go watch that and be mortified. It's graphic, okay? So if you have a weak stomach, you just may want to fast forward on that part and listen to the commentary. Okay, let's get into it, family. Okay, these ads are really on my nerves. Okay, so these abysmal numbers now. Let's talk about it. The speech, listen to what they call bright spots in the goddamn speech. Listen, the speech had a few bright spots. The call to fund police and a nod to America's drug crises. But Biden needed a pivot, and he failed to deliver. Is this not to be fucking believed? We don't have a George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to end qualified immunity. But this Republican who wrote this article for the USA Today feels like and believes that a call to fund police was a bright spot. Not a call to end the preschool to prison pipeline. Not a call to end homelessness for Freedmen. Not a call to increase our home ownership. Not a call for reparations. Okay? Not a call for more business ownership in our communities instead of gentrification. Not a call to end environmental racism. But the bright spot is to give more money to the police. I think he's talking about $350 billion with a B to the glacier donkey race soldiers who are coming up into our communities where we've been neutralized economically and just fucking taking us out. You see it. I don't report on that much because there's enough people reporting on that. And it's very traumatizing for me, so I'm sure it's traumatizing for you. But this is what is called a bright spot, and this is what the Biden administration is suggesting. Now, we've seen this before, family, right? When he authored the 94 crime bill. We saw him demonize blackness. Let's just bring it up. Let me see if I can find it. Let's just bring it up for kicks and giggles, just for a reminder. Spirit is saying, y'all need a reminder. Well, maybe not the people that watch me, but y'all need to share it with somebody that needs to be reminded. Let's just go over here and bring up that video. Let's just do it. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I just think the people need to be reminded.
So 25 years after the 1994 crime bill was enacted, we are still having conversations about the import and significance of the import.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to share my screen.
That 1994 crime bill, it did contribute to mass incarceration in our country.
It's important.
Hold on, y'all. Let me come over here and stop sharing this. Oh, Lord. Y'all bear with me. I ain't got no producers over here. It's just me, myself, and I. Okay? But yeah, I think I want this in this broadcast since I'm speaking on the bright spots. According to these glacier donkeys on both sides of the aisle. You can trust and believe my Freedmen voter strategy. It ain't no party thing. It's a Freedmen flourishing thing. Let's get into it.
Take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. Take back the streets.
I just want to be on his ugly ass face. Society. Oh, hold on.
Take back the streets. Carry on society. We have no.
Okay, I just want him frozen right there like the glacier donkey ass he is. That's the image I want in the video. Him sitting up here telling you, yes, we created the problem and we must incarcerate the young people in droves, even though we made them the criminals they have become. Even though we've created such conditions in their communities that they are robbed of an opportunity to be husbands and to be fathers. We create the problems and then we're going to turn around and lock them up for the not so new slavery in the private prison industrial complexes. And we're going to hire the KKK throughout every police force in the country to execute them with impunity, even though we created them. We gave birth to them when we robbed them of an opportunity for gainful employment, when we suppressed their wages, when we hire them last and fire them first, when we set them up in preschool to prison pipelines, when we make them so poor, the only answer is abortion, which we support. We are the eugenists of the freedmen that we continue to drive to the polls with false promises. We got them sheep walking to the polls to deliver us the White House since FDR, never pivoting. They don't make enough money to qualify for business loans. That's by our design of institutional systemic racism. We've redlined them. We've given them abortion. They've given 20 million black babies plus and counting back to God. We removed the fathers from the house through welfare so that the Black woman could be overstressed and overworked trying to raise her children single-handedly. And we know that while she's working 2, 3, 4 jobs, that these kids are latchkey and raising themselves, which feeds right into the coffers of the private prison industrial complex where we get free slave labor per the 13th Amendment. It doesn't matter, he said. Lock them up. They're a pariah. Lock them up. Execute them with impunity. And let's give the police, who we know the FBI since 2006 said has been infiltrated by the KKK, let's give them $350 billion more dollars so we can have more Tamir Rices, more Trayvons, more Amir Locks, more Dante Wrights. We're going to kill who we can't jail. And we're going to fund the state-sanctioned executions of freedmen who are the most viral, who should be in a position to get free college education so they can take the cap off of their salaries and be viable husbands and fathers to the Black woman and children. We're going to create the problem, and then we're going to demonize Trump, who's never had a policy against them, and make him out. We're going to use the corporate with 3Ks news media that we own to make Trump more of a racist than the author of the 94 crime bill, your segregationist in chief, Strom Thurmond's eulogist, Strom Thurmond's protege, Jim Crow Joe O'Biden. Let's just keep his white ass up there, his glacier donkey ass up there while I continue to read the puckery, okay? And if folks want to come for me, she's too animated, she's too angry. These are my people, but I'm too turned up. I'm too turned up. I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm just supposed to allow us to sit in the gas chamber. And right now with the Democrats, we're clearly on the guillotine. We're on the front lines. It is war. But I'm supposed to sit silently on the guillotine line and allow them to kill us and take us out one by one. That's what I'm expected to do. Just sit in the gas chamber and be quiet. Or you're a xenophobe. If you don't allow us to weaponize immigration against you to replace you and your people, you're a xenophobe. And the drug crises was the bright spot. Now all of a sudden, the data says we're dying disproportionately. I'm going to do a whole different article on that. But instead of giving them $30 million for rehab, since you're so concerned about racial equity, let's give them crack pipes so they can smoke this lace shit up off the streets and kill themselves. We're going to pretend to give a damn while we line the pockets of white and immigrant drug programs. Okay. Back to the text. I ain't even got to the body of the text. That was just the headline, y'all. Oh, Lord, help us, help us. Good Lord. Help us to see, Father. Help us to see. I'm so tired of this bullshiggity. They keep on messing with this article, cutting it off. Let me see. So I can't read it because they want me to subscribe. I'm not subscribing to this nonsense. And then this Mickey Ficky wants $6.4 billion to give to the Nazis in Ukraine. Our tax dollars, for those of us who are fortunate enough to have gainful employment and can pay taxes, is being used to help the Nazi Ukrainians while immigrant Joyanne Reed sits up on national TV and acts like what they're doing to the Africans in that country is only a handful of people. Not the scores of people we've seen in the videos that I've been sharing. Not them. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me close this. I figured out how to get to the article. Yeah. We're supposed to believe that the Nazis aren't racist, but the KKK of the U.S., of America with 3 Ks, is sending is asking Congress for $6.4 billion to go to the Nazis of Ukraine, who are sitting up here and literally shitting on the Africans, who, oh, by the way, shit on us once they get to this country. I'm just telling you what they want to spend our tax dollars on is to help the racist-ass Nazis who are leaving the Africans in the cold to their own peril. Babies out there. Okay. And coon-ass Joyanne Reed want to get on national TV and pretend it's maybe about just a handful of people. The rest of them are being helped up out the bitch when we clearly see the videos that suggest otherwise. So it's the Jedi mind trick. We really don't see what we're seeing, right, family? We really don't see it. But no to our reparations. Not even a down payment to close the hundreds of trillions of dollars egregious racial wealth gap. And they playing with HR 40. They don't have the number of signatures they need to have that pass in the House. That is a lie to try to get you to sheepwalk to the polls to continue voting blue, no matter damn who, to the extinction of your own lineage. You are being replaced. Our numbers are falling off. While their numbers, the immigrants that is through the goddamn roof. Thanks to the Democrats. And I got the nerve to have people in my feed congratulating segregationist in chief Jim Crow O'Biden, Jim Crow Joe O'Biden. They're commending this bullshiggity. He didn't even mention black not once in his speech, staying away from it altogether. But when it came time to run Kabami, she weaponized blackness to get your vote, not mine. When it came to his speech, he thanked the blacks for delivering him the White House and said, I'll have your back because you had mine. And now to even mention the word could be grounds for a lawsuit. It's convenient to weaponize blackness until it ain't. That's the same way these Mickey Ficky immigrants do. They're black when it's time for reparations or even to talk about it. I done seen more white folks claim the one drop rule than Carter got liver pills. Now all of a sudden everybody, well, I got a black great great-great-great-great-grandma who was raped by my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. Yes, I've benefited from white privilege for 50 years, but damn it to hell, I'm owed those reparations. It's in my line. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me take a breath. I ain't even started the damn article. This is a shame. President Joe Biden's State of the Union address offered a chance for a flagging presidency to reset and pivot because perhaps giving his party a new message to sell in the upcoming midterms. Let me speak here. He did exactly what he wanted to do. Speak to white, racist-ass America with 3 Ks. When you talk about the drug crises, I don't think they got the memo that it's now happening to us, because if they did, they wouldn't give a damn. Trust and believe you me. But as long as they believe that they're dying disproportionately from the opioid addictions, then he's going to frame his state of address to reach them and criminalize blackness even more to justify giving $350 billion more dollars to the glacier donkey state-sanctioned executioners called the cops with 3 Ks. That makes white folks comfortable. So he was speaking to exactly who he wants to speak to. Immigrants and Ukrainians who he's going to flood the zone with refugees. Wait for it. It's already happening in the state of New York. Look at the archives. I already talked about that. And Republicans. And he's weaponizing blackness to get it done. All of our Holocaust, he's weaponizing our Holocaust to win votes during the midterm. But for Democrats, back to the text, the chance was missed. The president offered nothing new. In fact, if you had seen no news about his presidency and just watched the speech code Tuesday night, you might assume that politically everything is fine for Biden. But in the reality is much different. Biden's approval ratings in many national polls are in the upper 30s, low 40s, a terrible omen for Democratic candidates up and down the ballot. Many generic ballots show Republicans with huge leads, which pretends the possibility of a wave that ushers Republicans into office who never even dreamed they had a chance when they filed to run. And Biden did nothing about it. Biden won't target Putin where it hurts. And Biden did nothing about it. His message on Russia was perfectly fine, calling for American resolve and solidarity behind the people of Ukraine. Me speaking, I've already told you they're the Nazis. But there was nothing new. And I'll get into that when I get into that, okay? You can Google that yourself. I'm really trying to stay on the neck of the old Biden administration, akin to their boots on our jugular. So that's my focus. I'll get around to, them if I get a window. It's too much already happening to us to make the case for the weaponization of our vote, the only commodity we've got since we've been neutralized economically. My only hope and prayer is that my Freedmen voter strategy works, and then we can show them that the polls were lying in as much as the polls lied when they swore crooked Hillary with 3 Ks was for sure win in her race against Donald Trump. Okay. That's my goal. Full court press. But there was nothing new, such as the idea that many Republicans are floating, banning all oil and gas imports from Russia. At the same time, we are sending various kinds of aid to the brave Ukrainians and planning for more. The United States is still importing hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil each day from Russia. It begs the question, how serious is Biden when it comes to fully isolating Putin? The sanctions and measures taken by the Western world are severe, to be sure. And there's evidence that the powerful Russian oligarchs are starting to feel the pain, or soon will. What you won't hear at the State of the Union: Biden botched his first year as president. Even so, even Canada has banned Russian crude imports, revenues from which support the Putin regime and the lifestyle of the oligarchs Biden singled out in his speech. Why can't we do this? And why can't Biden relent on his war on American domestic fossil fuel production to help supply our European allies at a time that they too need to cut off Russian oil imports as much as possible? Biden appears to care more about his green energy agenda, championed by the progressives in his party, than he does about sticking the knife as far into Putin's back as possible. Perhaps we could stop the madman more quickly if we were as committed to that as Biden is to a liberal agenda that has no chance of passing this Congress nor the next. Happy talk won't cut it. The rest of the speech was mostly a laundry list of ideas that appear in legislation already dead. The inflation section was flat, and that issue alone has put an anvil on his ability to improve his political position. I was surprised that he didn't bring any new ideas to the table on the issues killing his party, and that he continues to try to use 17 Nobel laureates to convince Americans paying over $100 to fill their tanks that things are just fine. Happy talk simply won't cut it when it doesn't match voters' lived experiences. The presidency needs a hard reset, or it faces being remembered as one of the worst of the modern era. Think Bill Clinton's 1996 State of the Union address, in which he declared the era of big government is over, while Clinton had already taken his midterm lumps before his pivot. Surely Biden can see what's coming if he doesn't do something drastic to change direction. There were a few bright spots in the speech worthy of praise. His call to fund the police was politically smart, as the radicals in his party who want to defund the police are dragging down all Democrats with their irresponsible rhetoric. The nod to America's drug crises and to those in recovery is an issue that affects millions of families in every state. And the story of the little boy with diabetes was a memorable touch on a key issue. Those kinds of personal stories often stand the best chance of lingering in the minds of viewers. But this speech is likely to be forgotten quickly as we turn our attention back to the atrocities being committed by the Russians and the inflation crises that is punishing the American people. Republicans won't find much to like here, and even some congressional Democrats were pre-planning to go their separate ways, with representatives from the Congressional Progressive Caucus and the Congressional Black Caucus set to give their own responses to a Democratic president's speech. As for the GOP, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds, in her response, stuck to the issues that you will see time and time again in Republican ad campaigns this fall: schools, crime, inflation, and how Republican leadership can change the country's dismal direction. Her party's candidates would be wise to follow her example and not chase bizarre agendas or other wild goose chases emanating from Florida. Okay? I'm so sick of that one. So I've got some other ones that I have for you, but we're going to have to explore that perhaps tomorrow because the hour is getting late and I don't like to keep you guys for longer than an hour. I see you, GOJ, eternally strong. U.S. Atlantic Creole Nation. Herb Saint. I want to thank you guys for joining the live and being my co-host in the chat. Let me get through my support of my Freedmen voter strategy before I explain it. And then with the time remaining, I'll go through your comments, okay? Thank you so much, Facebook and Twitter, and those of you on ScrewTube who have yet to chat who you are and where you're slinging bricks. Welcome one and all to the live. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you feel so compelled, please bless the broadcast. It enables me to edutain the masses while advocating for Freedmen reparations exclusively. Thank you. Thank you for all your support and your love. Let's see here. Let me stop sharing this, and we're going to share Dr. Claude Anderson. This is my commercial, non-commercial break. It's very brief. If you want to hear my Freedmen voter strategy fleshed completely out, you can listen towards the end of any archive within the past couple of weeks. I'm doing a full court press, trying to win more support for it. And I'll explain why momentarily. You know, we have no agendas coming, family. The Democrats are all too happy to lie to you about agendas that never come to bear. And the Republicans clearly have no agenda. So we've got to examine our most imminent threat, which is immigration. It is causing our Black men to be jobless and homeless in record numbers. When our Black men can't make money, they can't make viable husbands to Black women. I'm talking freed women. I'm talking freed men. Because as I share with you on past broadcasts, the Black immigrants are 1,000 times more wealthy than us. And although they're not as wealthy as the other groups, they're 1,000 times more wealthy than us. We are on the bottom as the anchor of this country with 3 Ks, capitalism with 3 Ks. So when you have no agenda coming, whether promised and unfulfilled or whether not promised to you at all, you've got to weaponize your vote and socialize this suffering. I don't care if you like or hate Trump. He certainly wasn't giving away our repair to all these immigrants that are flooding the zone because the Democrats are buying their vote. That is until they're 50K or greater, then they give the Democrats their asses to kiss and they vote Republican. So, no, you cannot stay home. It's not going to send the right message to the Democrats. All they're going to do is weaponize your staying home to lie and say you were denied access to the polls because the Voter Right Act didn't pass. You got to get into the mind of these Democrats, family. Their plans for us are since emancipation. When Johnson rescinded our 40 acres and a mule, and then later the white immigrants and the white slaveholders received reparations in the form of 100 years of the Homestead Act to give them even more of a head start than the 250 years they had or more of our enslavement. So this isn't a new problem, and Dr. Claude Anderson has already told y'all for 40 years, it is our most imminent threat. Don't look at the current unemployment numbers. That doesn't mean Freedmen Black. Okay? That's not us. That's immigrant Black and all the other immigrants and white folks. Black men are the highest rates of unemployment and underemployment. Second to that is our Black women. Third to that are our teens and young adults. So you cannot look at the current numbers and think that's us. We're not winning. So I think I just explained my Freedmen voter strategy. Let me round robin it to hear from Dr. Claude Anderson. This is just like a minute or two.
Blacks be put into a protected class. Secondly, get you a national black party. Get you a national black party. And three, that you don't take anything that does not relate to money and resources and opportunities. Civil rights and social integration are divisive things that would split you up and divide you. Stay away from social integration and civil rights. Those things cannot help black folk. They have been taken over now by immigrants coming to this country. That's why they get credit for anything they want in this country by claiming that they're included and that they're equal to black folk. They're not equal to black folk. Black folk only control 1/2 of 1% of anything in this country. That's exactly where you were at the end of slavery in 1863. Get away from that and say, no, we want tangible, measurable things. And you start with right now with Biden. Biden right now got into office because of black folk. He's already said he and Harris that they'll never do anything for black folk in terms of reparations and those things. Do not vote for anybody who would not support black folk. I don't care whether it's the highest, lowest officers to the highest officers. Don't do it. And you vote strictly as a block.
So, Dr. Anderson, can I ask you a question about the voting strategy? I'm sorry to jump back in on it, but let me ask you, because you're making a very, very important point that I want to make sure that we highlight. That you said do not vote for anyone who's not in favor of black interests. We right now are pushing a closed border state. We are now pushing closed borders, period, because that is an absolute imminent threat when it comes to our community. And that is our voting strategy as we move forward into the midterm elections and then to the presidential election. How do you feel about the closed border strategy?
I'm totally in favor of it. From the community level to the national level, you set aside your property and make you build your community, and you market and close it. Market and close it, just like the Asians do. They mark Chinatown.
Thank you.
Everybody mark their towns with us. If you go across this country, you can find little Korea, a little China, a little Helena, anything. You can find.
I'm so glad he's still alive to see us wake up.
So I'm sorry, Dr.
And in fact, like I shared with you, we got nothing coming. The Democrats lie about agendas that never come to bear, and the Republicans don't need an agenda for us. So it's up to us to weaponize our votes and socialize this suffering. Because when the Democrats are in charge, we're the only ones in distress. And we are out of time. We need to show up in Obama-style numbers and vote only closed-border candidates, including Marcel Dixon to replace Coon Clyburn in District 6, South Carolina, and Tamara Johnson-Shealy to replace Coon Warnock in the state of Georgia. Right now, they both have clear and present shots to the title. You need to give on a recurring basis to Marcel Dixon at marcelforcongress.com and Tamara Johnson-Shealy at tamaraforgeorgia.com. They need big money right now. Their races are, as I mentioned prior, towards the end of May for the state of Georgia and mid-June for Marcel's race in South Carolina. He's got a predominantly black constituency, and she's got only her and Warnock on that ticket right now. And she's the only reparationist on that ticket. And the Republicans are split 10 ways as far as who they're running down there. These are my only two exceptions as full-chested cash reparationists that we need hundreds just like them in Congress. We need to start with these two. The rest of the Democrats be damned. Okay, let's get over here and see what y'all got to say about it. Party be damned, family. It ain't a party thing. It's a Freedman flourishing thing, okay? Let's see what y'all got to say about it real quick. I'm jumping down. Ivy Dream says, let's investigate Daphne Bradford. She is running for Senate. I talked to her last night. She is running as an independent. I guess we can, but independent can't win. Can't win. We have no time. We are out of time. We cannot waste our votes on third-party candidates. We must do the unpopular. We must hold our nose and have the courage and the backbone and the kahungas of our ancestors who pivoted from the Republicans for civil rights with the Democrats, the Dixiecrats. So I have no time to vet new people. Sorry. Eternally Strong says, yeah, Biden is a dirty dude. Oh, honey. And 87% of our electorate voted him into office. Ivy Dream says, build that wall. Well, prayerfully, we'll get a chance to do that, with Trump coming back. That's my prayer, is that he'll come back and build the wall even stronger and kick a lot of these illegals right up out this joint. That's my prayer. The freedmen are getting churned out. Oh, yes, Eternally Strong. This is their weaponization of immigration against freedmen to ethnogenocide us right about the country our ancestors built with their lives. Perhaps when we're few in number as the Indians, they'll give us Maya Angelou on the back of that slaveholder quarter as reparations. Ivy Dream says, I saw the president of Ukraine demanding reparations from Russia. Good luck with that. They're the Nazis. Russia is right. Putin is right. They are racist. It doesn't mean Putin ain't racist. Trust and believe. But if you look at my video where them Africans was trying to get on that train to get the hockey sticks up out of there, they were forced to walk about 10 miles or greater just to get over, if they managed to get over. They didn't know what information to believe. Students, babies, seniors. It was a horror show. But one thing is right. They're staunch Nazis, and you've got our government, who is the KKK, choosing to fund the Nazis with our tax dollars. Let me stop that screen. Devil incarnate. You're right, Eternally Strong. That's why repatriations should be lineage-based for ADOS, American freedmen. Ain't nobody leaving this country for another Holocaust in African countries. Do you understand that these very Africans who come over here and call us Akata and all manner of names, and who have positions in high office in government, and who are 1,000 times more wealthy, don't give a damn about freedmen? Y'all can go over there if you want to, but they are the brothers and sisters of tribal wars. I don't want to leave this country. I want my reparations. I want to be left the hell alone, and I want that to be, I want executing my people, especially once we get reparations, to be warranted of a death penalty if you come through and burn down our Wall Streets again. I have no interest in going to Africa but for a visit. So you can use your reparations to expatriate about this piece, because that's what they want anyway. But trust and believe, you still got Africans who don't give a shit about you. They're the ones that sold us into slavery. Now, I know y'all like to dream and pretend that we were all kidnapped. No, and no. Just look at any of the countries that are apologizing and trying to offer us dual citizenship. There's your answer. We were sold about that piece. So no. If you want to use your reparations to relocate to Africa, you're free to do that. That's not what I want to do. And we shouldn't have to, because trust and believe, Lincoln tried this bullshiggity after we won the first Civil War and won our emancipation. That glacier donkey tried to expatriate us to Africa. They use us as the shoes to build their economy on the back of the worst heinous chattel slavery known to the free world, and then want to kick us out. That's just like, folks, and I'm not picking on you, Ivy, babe. I'm just rambling off the dome. That's just like folks mad that the Democrats and Republicans alike are suppressing our vote. Republicans are suppressing it with gerrymandering. Democrats are suppressing it with immigration and refugees, encouraging each other to participate in their own suppression of your vote while staying home or voting for a third party that don't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning. That's what that sounds like to me when folks suggest we repatriate to a country that sold us into slavery. border candidates have my vote. No, you want closed border candidates. Closed border candidates. Party be damned. It ain't a party thing. It's a Freedman flourishing thing, family. Thank you for your support, I think. You don't want open border candidates, baby. You got to be specific. These open borders are killing our brothers. And the $30 million crack pipe program is not to help our brothers. It's to kill our brothers. Hi, GOJ. My sister Angela. Oh, yes. To the finish, my brother. Mainstream history will not record Angela's contributions in this contemporary reparations movement, but she was there in the beginning. We will give the accounting. I love you, Black and Strong, for that, GOJ. I feel like going on with that comment. You're right. A proud co-founder of the former ADOS movement. Thank you for acknowledging me being here in the beginning. And I'm grateful to God for the damn near 300 broadcasts I've done, the videos that are archived to prove to anybody who needs to know where I stood on my square exclusively for Freedmen. Name, call, and be damned. Thank you, GOJ. I appreciate you, fam. No agenda at all. Some disaster always crops up. Although that's by design. That's by design. The Democrats lied to you about an agenda to have you sheep walk to the polls like they give a damn, only to get in there and take your reparations and give it to themselves and immigrants along with our protections. Okay? So, build the wall, build that wall. That's why I'll be going hard after midterms to get a red top of the ticket. Preferably, it will be Trump. Listen, let me help you understand something, family. If the Democrats or the Republicans embrace it, you need to run the opposite direction. That would be Donald Trump. I don't care how many shithole countries he calls Africa, the very Africa that sold us into slavery. I don't give a damn. When Republicans and Democrats hate you, you the one. I meant, she meant reparations, not repatriation. Okay, Ivy Dreams. I hope you don't mind that I just whipped you with a wet noodle. I wasn't whipping you. I was whipping the idea of repatriation, okay? I'm not interested. I love you, sis. Black and Strong. Forgive. I saw repatriation, okay? And that sounds like some narc and Cobra bullshiggity. They're setting us up to either have no money tied to our reparations, or if there's money, they want to disperse it to line their own pockets and make sure all Blacks receive the reparations our ancestors died for. So when I see that word repatriation, it makes me a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I go all the way left. My apologies. I love you. African sold us. I love you too, sis. Forgive me. Sometimes my PTSS comes out, my post-traumatic slave syndrome. Sometimes it rears its ugly head. Forgive. I love you, Black and Strong. With that being said, that's my time. That's my time. I think I want to end with GOJ. I'm going to keep that up in lights because it makes me happy to be acknowledged. And I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. Y'all are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you for supporting my voice. No matter how loud, no matter how honorary, no matter how much I cuss. I receive your love, family, and I return it a bazillion-fold. Now, y'all know I'm being shadow banned. They're not allowing my stuff to go through. They are messing with my 700 subs. I keep getting emails. They're not getting the notifications. So guess what I need y'all to do? Make it go viral. Okay, family. You need to help your sister out. Make it go viral. Share with everyone, even those who seem like they don't get it. Share with their asses too. They'll come around. Listen, people are waking up, family, and we're going to show out at that poll with the Freedmen voter strategy and let these Democrats know here is the Freedmen ass to kiss, akin to your asses that we've kissed, not me, since FDR. Okay? The last Democrat I voted for president was Barack Obama. That was it, and that was all. Anywho, family, let me get my outro going because it's so fly and I love it so much. The light of God surrounds us, family. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedman and his allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until tomorrow, family, if nobody's told you today how much they love you, let me say it to you now. I love you, Black, and I love you so very strong, family. Until tomorrow, where I will bring you more brothers who are free to live, I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening, family. Until I'm sending you a ton of peace, love, and reparations. I'm out.